All right, what's up, dudes? All right, running through a quick deck profile here, just for what I'm currently working on. I'm currently testing. I'm shout out to the homie in the comments. Meant talking about interactions between chaining the Sword Soul level 10 synchro and Little Knight, being able to trigger the chaining. Um, Seems like it's like a pretty cool way to base the deck around at the moment. And we're sort of maximizing on the Ice Jade level 7, the Ice Jade Ran, and yeah, so we're just gonna go over kind of what I'm looking at the moment. Currently, for starters, we are playing 13. So real quick, yeah. So one card starters. Obviously, we're always maximizing the Diva's Prince, and we're always playing the 1-for-1 to get to the Prince. The name of the game for this deck is always get to Prince. But Diva is a lot more important in this variant than other variants I played. Where it's just kind of like a water spam. The level 2 tuner comes up a lot because we're trying to end on the Sword Soul level 10. Chenning, and Little Knight, and then a Baron. That's like our goal for like our end board, and Diva plays a big role in helping us get there. So this is obviously max out. We're always maxing out on the Arya because we max out on cards to discard before we normal summon, so that way we can treat this card like a starter. Because it is slow in that regards. You need a water engrave to be able to trigger it, but we play 13 discards, not including the 1-for-1. And so if we're not opening one of our 1-card starters, we should be opening one of our 6 pseudo starters, because Dragoons with the discard serves the exact same role as Arya with the discard. Dragoons is just better. And so yeah, so we maximize out on our pseudo starters, and then with those 6, we play 13 cards that allow us to discard and get to Prince. This is a third Ice Jade Cradle. Cradle is a non-once per turn spell, normal spell that you can activate and then add an Ice Jade monster from your deck to your hand that doesn't have the same name as an Ice Jade on your field or graveyard. And so we're only playing Ice Jade Ran, which is level 7 water that says discard a water for cost to special, and then resolution, you special a token, a level 3 token, but then you're locked into waters until that token leaves the field. And so it doesn't permanently lock you into waters, but it does mean that the Ice Jade is limited into only summoning water level 10 synchros. And so there might be worries about you open multiple cradles. That doesn't matter. You just trigger all of them, and you just add these. These are the only important Ice Jade. All the other ones aren't as good. And even if you do, and they're not bad. The other Ice Jades, they're just a little more situational. But then even if you draw one on a follow-up turn, you always want to be focusing on banishing for if you have Arya and you have the Ice Jade, you want to be focusing on banishing the Ice Jade with the Arya, so that way your follow-up cradles are live. And yeah, so there's ways to play around the fact that you can only search this copy, and with the conflictions and like this being in your graveyard, so these could become dead. You can play around that slightly, but yeah. So we max out on this card. This is kind of like if we're not opening Teus, we're hoping to open one of these 6 copies. So now we have like 9 main combo cards that we're trying to open that are not too searchable. Because Tace being the big dog, Tace is still the best card to open with Dragoons in this deck. It's hard to search it, and I am testing with Small World as well. I like Small World, but I don't know if I have the space to play in this deck if I want to also maximize on the non-engine I'm playing. But yeah, Tace is great. We're always playing Tace. And then 3 Minstrel. We max on the Minstrel, 1 because it discards Dragoons. It turns Arya online. You have to look at the hand traps. Level 3 tuner is relevant. Gets to shuffle back your level 4 lower waters. Still a good card. And then we're playing the 1 Megalo. Currently, I'm not at least maining the equip spell. Maybe I side it going first. But right now, we're not ending on a Mermail very often on our end boards. And so the equip spell doesn't really come up as much. So it's more of a brick in our hand to see it. Even if we do add it, it's not really being used for anything. And so We're mainly playing Megalo to help push going second, because being able to discard multiple like Dragoon, Infantry, Princes, and then Chain Block is really good. And then also we need a level 7 that is a searchable Sea Serpent off of the Prince in case we open none of our level 7 targets. We can still at least get to Megalo to at least make a level 10. And so yeah, those are our discards, and now our kind of like, our situational cards are our extenders. Yeah, so we're playing the Lapis and Moon Glacia as our Sea Serpent targets. Yeah, so Lapis is amazing. It's really the only brick in the deck right now. Only card that feels like a brick, because if you open it, you can't use it. But it's mandatory. You still have to play it, and it's a good extender into going into making your combo better, and it's really good going second into a board. And then Moonland Glacia, we're playing the Moonland Glacia again. I had cut this card for a while because I really hate skipping the battle phase. I haven't actually tested like enough matches with this to know how I feel about losing my battle phase, but half of the combos with this deck, you end up actually synchroing off your Moonland Glacia with the Deep Sea Diva to make a Baron. And so I don't know how I feel about that. If the extra negate is worth it, or if I should just be keeping this on my board and not getting rid of my battle phase. But yeah, so we're testing this out. The discard 2 is pretty relevant right now, I feel like, and so I'm more inclined to play it than other formats. And yeah, so there's that, and then we still play Pike as a search target for the Teus. Instead of playing Gun, we're actually playing Crusadia, because Crusadia serves a different role than Gun, as you can special Crusadia to a Link Arrow, and then it's a level 3 tuner, so you can synchro it with a Megalo, with a Teus, and so that's pretty relevant in making more level 10s. And so yeah, that's our only search target for the Pike at the moment. I don't at the moment, at least with this build, I definitely do not miss the Gun. The Gun requires a lot of setup, and if you hard open the Crusadia and like just Megalo, that feels a lot better than hard opening the Gun with a Megalo, because usually that Gun will just be another empty water card, while with the Crusadia you can at least make a level 10 there. And then we play 2 Infantry. I feel like I have to play 2 Infantry. Too many times it comes up to where the second copy is relevant and comes up, and so I'm playing the 2 at the moment. Infantry's really good going second, and Infantry's a lot better in this deck, or in this variant, than other builds as an extender, because if your main one of the main combos here is would be like, Ice J Dragoon, and so this will end you on the chaining Little Knight and Moonland Glacia on board with 3 cards in hand. And so if you open the Infantry, if you normal the Infantry and then normal the Prince, you can send that Moonland Glacia instead of having that on the board and then have a Baron. So Infantry Dragoon in the Ice Ray equals Little Knight Baron and chaining, and you discard 2 cards from your opponent's hand. So they're on 4 cards. You banish 1 from the graveyard with Little Knight, and if any effects trigger, you have the chaining that can potentially banish something on the field and in the grave. And yeah, so Infantry is really good. I honestly want to bump it to 3 just because it does play an extender role in this deck yet, but this deck's already the main deck currently is already at 42 cards, and it feels like a lot. And so I don't know how I feel about putting more cards in the deck, and because the name of the game with Water is get to Prince, and once you start playing more cards than 40, those are just more cards that are in the way of getting the Prince. So I don't know how I want to go about that yet. But yeah, and for non-engine, I do feel like this amount of non-engine is necessary. We play 3 Fenrir, 3 Ash, and 3 Imperm. Real quick, we'll just go over the hand traps. Yeah, Ash, Imperm. I feel like this deck definitely needs to play some type of non-engine in it. Usually it suffers from feeling like it needs to play, feeling like it only has like 3 slots for non-engine, which then almost would just go to like something like Droplet or like Talons. But I do want to play hand traps, and these are the most relevant ones. Dodging Talons is important. Still being a negate if you top deck on your turn is important. And then Ash is just, it just hits everything. It hits Lab and it hits Emergency, and so these felt like the most important hand traps to play. And then, yeah, so we're playing the Fenrirs in the deck, and this is supposed to be tier cash. I just don't have one yet, but it's coming. And the reason we're playing the Fenrirs in the deck is because Water seems to lack lack some type of grind game, and it seems to lack board presence if you do like start to crash through their board a little bit. And so I feel like the Fenrir offers a little more longevity in the deck. Being able to accumulate resources is really important, and it's also a level 7, so it works with trying to make your level 10s. And then I also like that what really sold me with the Fenrirs is that it replaces itself. So it's a non-engine card, but it still gives you a dead water in hand that you can discard for all your triggering effects. So, in a hand where you opened like, Minstrel, Aria, and Fenrir, you go Fenrir, affect Fenrir, add a tier cache, this is a water attribute, and then you can go Minstrel, discard the tier cache, and then you can go Aria, banish the tier cache to then search your diva, and now you go full combo. And so I felt like that was pretty important. And I felt like that was really nice, the fact that I can have a hand trap, per se, or a non-engine card that replaces itself with a water attribute. And so, because a lot of the times when you play non-engine in this deck, once you play too many, you start opening like 3 hand traps, and all of a sudden you need to open like... All right, we're back on. Yeah, so finishing up here, Fenrir. Seems important. Seems good. I like it. And so so the main deck is 42. Right now, I don't really know what I want to be cutting because I feel like I need to be maxing out on the non-gen that I do have. I feel like the 2 infantry is necessary for follow-up for the prince, and just as an extender, it works. And then you have to maximize your discard outlets to keep, Dragoons and Arya online if you don't open your 1-card starters, which also need to be maxed out on. And then I'm only playing 1-ofs of all of my... I'm only playing 1-ofs of the cards that only need to be a 1-of. And so I don't really know where to cut down on this deck, and it's not like you really want to cut down on the Cradles or the Ice Jade or the Teus, because you also need to open those to go full combo. So I almost feel like I am locked in at this 42 card count. But I'm still working on it. Maybe part of the deck changes. Maybe the Teuses and all the Mermills, but maybe Megalo just leaves and they get replaced with different cards. Still working on it. But yeah, so going into the extra deck, this is a Little Knight focused deck, so we are playing 2 Little Knights. Zealantis, I was testing out access code, and I haven't completely forgone access code. May come back. I might just play. I might play like Nightmare Unicorn, or maybe one of the Charmers, and then play access code in lieu of the Zealantis. But I do like Zealantis with an enemy. I like that. You can make Zealantis with a Little Knight instead of using your Cornel an enemy, which is what I typically did. And what sucked about that is that if you make an enemy make Zealantis with an enemy and you banish the cards and come back, you have no way to co-link before, or at least the way I played didn't. But now you can instead, if your board, if you don't lose on like the first turn or whatever, and you have board presence on your next turn, your Little Knight comes back to the field, you spend 2 waters, you make Marincess, and then you can you do whatever you want. You link off a couple monsters, link off Little Knight, and now you can banish an enemy with the Zealantis. They come back, and now you have co-links for pops, for like back row or whatever. So I like Zealantis, and I'm testing it out. And let's see here. So yeah, two Little Knights. 1 is required because the end combo is literally just Little Knight and chaining. But we play 2 because Little Knight's a crazy card. It's follow up. It's grind game. It's good going second and first. And so yeah, we're playing 2 Little Knights. But I would say only 1 is required. 2 an enemy. I don't know if one of these is required. One of these as a flex spot. There's a couple flex spots in here that I haven't finalized yet, but I do like that through a grind game or through a game where there's hand traps being thrown back and forth. An enemy is really strong. Just being able to bait out cards, get your Prince engraved, and then you can an enemy special back the Prince, and then potentially just go from there. And then also having, if you use your enemy on your first turn combo, and then on the follow up you have another one to push for game. I do like that. And then we play 2 links. You need a Abyss Keeper for one of the main combo lines where you open Dragoons and Teus, because specials out your Pike from hand, and so that's really important. And then this is another flex spot. We'll end on this some of the time, and this is kind of like the worst card. Like if we end up summoning this and nothing else, then that means we bricked. And so I don't know how I feel about this yet, and it's a lot worse when you're not playing the equip spell. Maybe the equip spell comes back in, maybe gets cited, and then I'd try and make this in like games 2 and 3. But then also if you open Dragoon, Teus, and any water card, then you can end on the Lacia and your Embor combo, and so I could have the equip spell there. Haven't decided what I want to do there yet. Maybe I just bump the deck up to 43 cards, play the equip spell, and then I play Link Rebo. You're just playing this because you league off your Prince to manipulate your water count, so you can get Glacia on board. Also make Monster Zone space to summon, and then also you play Link Rebo over the Anima because it has a downward arrow, and that's important. So your Crusadia can special to it if you're trying to make an early Baron or a Baron at all. And then we play 2 Xyz. We play Bahamut and Toad. We're not playing Gaios because we're not playing Gund. So it's less likely we're going to have 2 level 7 waters on our field. And you just play 1 and 1 because your Teus Dragoon combo makes a Bahamut. And totally awesome, still really good. And so we play 3 level 10s. We play Baron because it's just best level 10 in the game. It's generic. And so we're definitely focusing on that. We play Chaining. It's the main synchro we make with the Ice Shade on turn 1, and it works really well with Little Knight, and it's good in grind games. It's good against a lot of decks, and it's actually just a really cool card. And then we also play the Ice Shade synchro as we play it in case we're waterlocked and we still want to make 2 level 10s. We can still make the Chaining and Ice Shade, which is still pretty relevant because you can just chain to any one of their cards with the Ice Shade, banish it, and then your Chaining will be online and activate. And so that seems pretty relevant as well. Not to mention the Ice Shades. The grind game on that card is insane. Because whenever time your opponent banishes a card and the card's in the graveyard, you can just special it back. And so and that's not like once per duel or anything. So if it's into the graveyard, next turn they do something, they banish something, this comes right back. And so that's really cool. And then our last 2 flex spots is Coral and Crocosaurus. These are really just draw cards is all I see them as. They're good also going in second into boards, because not only because they replace themselves with a draw, but also because they both pop. And so and I also like that Coral can like discard Prince, pop a card, summon Dragoons, and then you make a level 10 there. I do like that. And then also if you go like you special the Ice Jade level 7, you have the token on field, and you go like Prince special Lapis Dragon from hand by sending in Dragoons. You can make a Crocosaurus and drawing 2 cards doing that. And so depending what your hand is, depending what you're playing through. I do like these cards as just flex spots to draw and just like randomly have the ability to pop stuff. And so yeah, so that's the extra deck. Yeah, I don't know. The deck's definitely still a work in progress, but I'm just kind of like testing out like theories. When the new set comes out that has all the new water support, like the fish support, I think this deck will change a lot. I think the fish cards are really strong, and I'm definitely gonna find a way to try and fit them in this deck. I know they water lock you, but the fish cards basically allow you to go whatever the Goaty full combo is without ever normal summoning. So you could potentially just do all the water plays with the fish cards, and then as your last interaction you go normal Diva or normal Prince, and that seems really strong as well. And there's a lot of synchro options there that I like, and so I'm definitely really curious into trying that out. Maybe Trishula comes back because the new level 6 synchro is level 6, and then you have Diva Prince, and so you can make a Trishula there. And so I'm just theorizing, but yeah, so it's a pretty neat deck. Real quick, I'll just play this out, I guess. I think I just go Teus Dragoons. Teus will search Pike, and Dragoons will search. Let's see, we'll search Diva, and then we'll go normal Diva effect. Oh, and we should also be specialing our Teus all the way to the side for link arrow purposes. And so we'll special Prince, and then Prince effect. We'll send Dragoons and add Dragoons. Never add the super. You add the ulti, and then Dragoons effect engrave. We'll add Glacia here. We added Moon and Glacia because we already had the Prince in hand. If we didn't have the Prince, we definitely grab that so we can make the rank 4. So now we'll link into Abyss Keeper. Abyss Keeper will special Pike. Pike effect will discard Prince. And Pike will search us our Crusadia. And then Prince will resolve and grave. And we'll special our Dragoons back to the field. And we're gonna go. You wanna put your Bahamut here under the other extra deck zone, so that way you're not putting one of your boss monsters on a zone that might be animate on your opponent's turn. But we'll activate Bahamut, send Dragoons. We're gonna special Toad, and then Dragoons effect. We can special. We can add. I think we can add Megalo here to get additional extender on board. Now that we have 5 waters, we can special Moon and Glacia, discard Chair to their hand, and now we can special the Crusadia to a Link Arrow. And we can make Baron here. And then with what is left, we can go. I think we're just going special Megalo by discarding Dragoons and the tier cash is it's a water. And then Dragoons will search us Diva, so we have follow-up. And we typically like to keep our Lapis in turn 1 if we don't have to use it, because that would mean that on our follow-up we have a solid Dragoons target, because on our follow-up we can go. I mean, I think we have 3 Dragoons in our grave, so we would need to on our follow-up. Well, to finish out the combo, all it is you send Bahamut, Megalo, and you gotta think about it. They have 2 cards in their graveyard right now, and so at that point you go Little Knight. You could banish one of the cards in their graveyard because you use Bahamut, use an extra deck monster, and now they're playing with even less cards. And so at this point, I don't actually know if I want to go with the Baron, if I want to go with the Chaining. I think I want to go with the Baron. It just feels like a better card being an Omni Negate and follow up by putting it back. But the Chaining's really strong too. But yeah, so this is the end board, and this leaves you with your battle phase because you had an additional extender, so you didn't have to use the Moulin for anything. Because typically here, if you weren't able to get the Megalo out in the field, you'd have to use Moulin Glacia and Bahamut to make Little Knight. And so that's just where having any extender comes up, that the Moulin doesn't always have to be sent to the graveyard. But yeah, then on your follow-up turn, you draw whatever it is, and your whole board's probably not staying here. But you get to a point where you're normaling Diva, and then your especially Minstrel, and then Minstrel's gonna mill 3. You can put one of your Dragoons back, and now you can link climb into an enemy. An enemy can summon Prince. Prince can send Dragoons, add Infantry, and then Dragoons engrave will search Lapis, special Lapis, and you can just keep going from there. And so, yeah. So this is the profile. I'm still working on it, but yeah. So leave me your thoughts. Give me some opinions. Any help would be much appreciated. I'm trying to bring this. This deck is bad no matter what. It's not gonna be able to compete with the best decks in the format. But I mean, it's still fun, and it's still my favorite deck. It's definitely the pet deck of the game. And yeah. Yeah, leave me your thoughts. Help me out. Help me make this deck work. All right. Peace.